come to the bold analysis. Uhuru Kenyatta bond with Jaramogi family has saved this country a lot of these ethnic machinations. And I need to say something I need to repeat something that I said in this podcast, that the appearance of former president, the prominence of former President Uhuru Kenyatta in Raila Odinga's, all through since Raila Odinga's death, is something that has saved this country from scavengers who are able and were scheming from the word go to plot ethnic vitriol and hatred at this critical point. And for the first time, a member of Kenyatta family is responding to Kahiga utterances in a manner that I can tell you is worth sharing. And I've seen the statements from Ruth Odinga today when she appreciated the gesture of Kikuyu Council of Elders flying to Bondo to pay homage to Right Honorable late Raila Odinga.
Vice President. So mimi nilelelewa kwa hiyo state house ya Kisumu pamoja na Uhuru. Uhuru mpaka sasa ni best friend yangu. Tunajuana kwa ajili tulikuwa pamoja. Sasa mimi nilikuwa najua walikuwa marafiki. Lakini ndugu yangu amesema ideology ilikuwa tofauti. Lakini urafiki ilikuwa hata sisi watoto. Mimi nimesoma na mpaka Mhogo na mjua na mpaka watoto wa Mama Ngina, watoto wa ndugu wa Mama Ngina Mhogo yote na wajua. Kwa hii generation hii kitu inafanyika ni hizi za siasa. Lakini kwa ukweli hiyo uhusiano, unajua baba alimelala alikuwa anataka sana hiyo uhusiano katikati ya Kikuyu na Wajaluo. Na bila medala tusinyamaze. Ndio wazee muendeleshe hii kitu mpaka hiyo uhusiano irudi. Na mimi nimependa sana vile mmekuja, mmeleta ng'ombe. Naenda kuuliza ndugu yangu kwa niaba ya familia yangu, hata kama mimi ni msichana, hata mimi nipate ng'ombe nyingine.
This is something that really has gotten my attention. And I want us, without much ado, to look at Ruth Odinga's reaction to that move. And at the same time, I will also explain to you in details why really that one has emerged as a big concern. That at this point, the country will fall for the ethnic hatred that some people were plotting at this critical time. And I want to read two posts from Ruth Odinga because there is some consistency I want you to find out from her reaction. This was 2 days ago when Uhuru Kenyatta visited Raila Odinga gravesite. Ruth said, "Thank you, former President Uhuru Kenyatta, valued friends and family who stayed behind to comfort our grieving hearts a day after we laid our Shujaa to rest. You have demonstrated how deep this friendship was, and we, the Jaramogi family, do not take it for granted." Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and like our videos. In this podcast, during this critical time, we are emerging as the voice that injects sobriety. We are emerging as the voice that joins the country in joins the country in oozing neutrality. And we've refused to use our platform to propagate the ethnic hatred, contrary to other opinions that are flying around. We remained our position in this critical time that as we mourn our departed statesman Raila Odinga, it is immoral, it's unethical, and it's against Odinga legacy to preach hatred at this point. And that is why we've been calling out unequivocally those who stand in the path of unity and peace of this country. And without much ado, let us look at what Ruth said today, the 22nd of October, where she really spoke in reaction to what Mutahi Kahiga said. Today, we welcomed Kikuyu elders, Kiama Kiama, in Bondo, in their solemn mission to pay tribute to the now departed Right Honorable Raila Odinga. The Jaramogi family aside, the Luo and Kikuyu nations have a long and winding history, and this visit must have made my late father, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, and his friend Jomo Kenyatta smile in their graves. We welcome you. We are you. Growing up, hatred between the Kikuyu and Luo communities was alien. Former President Uhuru Kenyatta was a brother in all its strictest sense. We must rise above divisive ethnic undertones to forge a more united nation. Kenya belongs to all of us, regardless of your ethnic identity. What a powerful word. What a powerful gesture from the point when the country needed sobriety. And I think as Ruth Odinga says, Jaramogi and Kenyatta are smiling. Even Raila Odinga is smiling. And I agree, those who have been saying that the height of such heightened political activity and machinations going on, Odinga would have vouched for peace. Odinga would have vouched for reconciliation. And this is the voice that at this critical time will be important for the stability of this country, for us to stick together. We might have ideological differences. We must not agree on everything because, again, we are in a democracy. But we must all agree on one thing, that we are one nation. And that is why I can tell you the tide changed. Peter Opondo Kaluma, amongst the people that were really pushing some of these narratives, is saying this: fellow Kenyans, Raila Odinga forgave those who erred against him. In his memory, let's forgive Governor Kahiga and those who applauded him, as Raila Odinga would have done. I agree. And I think it is very clear that Odinga family, the two things I need to interpret shortly before I will do full interpretation of that. But a follow-up on the reaction from the poll from Ruth Odinga. They're not comfortable with the speech, or rather the reaction from Governor Wanga. And they may not be comfortable in the sense that it did not mirror unity. Or let me ask at this point, the Homa Bay governor is the ODM deputy, is the ODM chairperson. Did she consult Odinga family before making the reactionary speech on Kahiga? And a more critical question is this: when someone said that Rigathi should not step to Bondo, did they ever consult the family? I want to believe that the party is big. The party harbors Raila legacy. But during this critical time, it is very important, or rather it is very necessary, that before you face the media and purport to speak like you're appeasing, you're appealing to Raila family, you should consult them. And from their conversations, looking at the reaction from what Ruth Odinga has said, it was a post of making things straight. Raila Jr. has a Facebook page. Odour has a Facebook page. Mama Ida has a Facebook page. Winnie, I've not seen, the one that is being shared of Winnie is actually a fake Facebook page. That is not her page. They did not react. But from this one, there is something that wants to be communicated urgently. And I honestly, because this podcast has been vouching to deflate the ethnic statements, the ethnic incitement statements that have been coming from a clique of leaders from Luo Nation, it is a welcome call from Ruth Odinga to call out the hypocrites. I am calling them hypocrites because on one end, people claim to be preserving and interested in pushing Raila legacy. But on the other end, they join the cabal that is spewing some very harsh rhetoric and venom that has the risk of dividing this country. And that, while people pretend to be pro-unity that emulates the handshake, the spirit of forgiveness and reconciliation, but we are quick to bash, we are quick to react, and our reaction does not resonate with the peace that we purport to vouch for. Today, he actually becomes the first of a Odinga family to come out with that. And I want to tell you that the trip to Jaramogi, Oginga Odinga, but the Kikuyu elders came at the right time. This moving gesture came a day deeply after the deeply unfortunate remarks from Governor Mutahi Kahiga, who appeared to mock and trivialize the death of ODM, then party leader Raila Odinga, and his words stirred pain. But this today's visit reminds us something very deeper and something very clear, that we are bound by our traditions that transcend beyond politics and ethnic divisions. That in this country, in this day and age and era, we cannot transcend to ethnic blocks. We cannot preach tribalism at the time our unity needs to be tested. Kahiga issue fizzled out. And from what Ruth Odinga is saying, we need to give it a closure. And I want to clarify something here. I did an analysis, I think, on the day of Raila's burial, immediately after that. And that was a follow-up on the speeches the speeches that come out, that come at this critical time. The speeches from the speeches that came from leaders that attended that funeral. Now, from those speeches, something stood out. That everyone, Raila told me, Raila called me this, the experts were only protecting their jobs. They're not talking anything, and a lot of shouting match there. When you listen to the MPs in parliament, they're just protecting their positions. If you listen to the ODM leadership, they were simply busy on who becomes the president in the next general election, as to whether the Luo nation is in government or not in government. It's been a divide of the two. And that doesn't really come out nicely at times. Why Odinga family is the right institution to steady the ship. This ship cannot be stable if it is left in the hands of political scavengers. I've seen the government side. They've really tried to restrain themselves. And the true extreme sides must be avoided. I listened to a speech from Kindiki. He was somewhere probably in central Kenya. This is what he said. From that Kindiki, he was so keen on how he was packaging his message. He was so keen on how he's packaging his message. And that tells you that you need also the sensitivity of the moment. That is very, very important. The team flew from, they went by flight to Kisumu. As you can see in this photo was taken when they were in Kisumu. Then after this, they were later, again, this was in Kisumu. So inamaanisha walikuja huku. That means that trip was really facilitated. I'm not saying they cannot afford, but it was really facilitated from some very serious source. And the next photo was captured when they were getting to Opoda farm, Nangombe. And you can have a look at this one here. You will understand that these delegations have been getting to Opoda farm. Of course, zile ngombe ziko pale. I know people might ask, hizi ngombe zote za nini? Let me tell you, people are eating there. The community, huko ni bado watu wanaenda. I'm amongst the team that is supposed to make his way there anytime I get the time. So, and then they were received personally. Individually, they were received by Mama Ida. And that was a very act of kindness. That was why I told you, I have loved the conduct of Mama Ida throughout Raila's funeral. I need to say this. I've loved how Mama Ida has conducted herself. The way she's come out motherly. She's come out as Mainping, as she's always fond of. As she's always called Mainping. She's come out very motherly. Some people, and sometimes the composure, the calmness that comes with it is very important at this critical time. And then after that, they were received. They was received in a tent. You can see Ruth Odinga. You can see Odour Odinga and the elders, and also the governor from Siaya, James Orengo. Even the Siaya governor was there, James Orengo. So you can look at all that, and clearly you can see that it was a well-organized trip. It was a mission that was well-organized, and I think it went successfully. This is why Odinga family must steady the ship. Politicians are simply taking advantage of this mourning period to chant some succession path. I know I can get hold of Sifuna. People around Sifuna. I know I can get hold of people around Sifuna if I want. And one thing I would want to ask, probably if someone can comment in the comment section, I can see. When a statement is being issued as a secretary, as a party position, can just the chairperson just go and collect some few ODM aspirants there and MCAs and stand next to her and then say, I'm speaking as ODM? Do things work that way? And this is why I am not a prophet, but one day will be vindicated. The speech by Wanga haikufurahisha Odinga family. The reason why they must also come to steady the ship, Kahiga flame is a confusion tool that must be fizzled out. It must be fizzled out. And I must say, I have been looking at the reaction of the Luo Nation in social media. Yes, there have been a little of anger, but quite a number of people are arguing, are debating it with a lot of sobriety that it's needed, that it needs. Quite a number of people are saying, wait, this is not what we want. This country is for all of us. We cannot raise a hand against each other. This country is for all of us. And Uhuru Kenyatta closeness to Jaramogi is unsettling some factors. So that is why silence cannot be their position at this moment. I think there's a lot of propaganda emerging from these statements, and that must be sought out clearly. Thank you.